So we brought up this company before. So this is going to be a continuation of um, cover call management on one stock because it's been, in the last month that we've been talking about it, it's given me every possible way of how you would have a scenario of how to manage a covered call. So it's been fun for us to have this discussion. So we're going to continue with Microsoft. And for those of you guys that have been tracking along, if you're watching this for the first time, I'll kind of give you a little bit of the backstory. So I've got a covered call on Microsoft, and it would have been back, I guess, towards the end of January when I first brought it on. We were looking at it. I had a 250 call on it. And the first run when we talked about managing that covered call, my question to Matt at the time was, it was approaching 250, hadn't gotten there yet. It was approaching 250. And the question was, should I do something about it or just let it be until we get to 250? And the consensus was, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Covered calls don't need a lot of management until it gets to that call. Manage it when it gets to 250. Well, I just so happened to be traveling and not paying attention. So when Microsoft got above 250, it ran away from me. And so the second portion of that question, and this is where we're going to pick up from, was what do I do now that it's gone above 250? And Coach Mark, you were here for that when we talked about it.
I was.
And we rolled it down to the next month, and we went 30 days out because I think I had about 10 days left on that original one.
No, and there were a couple options because let's go back to the Microsoft chart because I don't know what you ended up doing actually because
I'll tell you.
Because the question here and I know what I said as my answer. I said I don't swing trade cover call.
Yep.
It is a religious principle for me. I will do all kinds of tricks, rolling out, trying to cheat cost base, but I'm not going to add thousands of dollars to my cost basis just to have exactly what happened on Microsoft happen over the next month. It's too painful. You have that happen to you a couple times, and it is just hurts because all of a sudden you bought Microsoft, not where you bought it a lot higher because you just have added a lot of cost basis. So I do not add, basically, I don't lose money on the cover call. I will not lose money on the cover call. So I will not roll them up and out if I am going to take a loss on the cover call. It is a hard principle for me. And this chart is exactly the reason. Every once in a while it works out, but when it doesn't, it is so painful.
Yep. So
what did you end up doing?
I took your approach.
Good. I saved you money. I want my commission. You send me Starbucks.
You saved
me. I want my commission as a vanilla latte from Starbucks. Grande.
You got it. I will Uber Eats it to your house. I don't even have to bring it to you.
See, that is the best. That will. I earned it.
You're getting it. No questions asked. I will have.
All right. So where are you at today? What did you do?
So,
you rolled it out?
So here we are. So I rolled it to the 250 when 30 days out. So this was a couple of weeks ago, obviously. Now I've got 10 days left, and we're right back at that 250 spot. Obviously, the covered call has made me money. The call has made money. So I've recouped the losses that I had from the original.
So if you close the call today, it would be profitable.
If it's profitable.
Okay. It's always a good spot because that gives you a lot of flexibility in what to do, right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. But now I've got 10 days out and I got to make a decision, right? We talk about covered calls. It's always, you
always make a decision, right?
Yep. You always have to. So I'm looking at it. I'm going, okay, I've got 10 days out. Now I'm thinking about rolling obviously now to that 31-day contract. What strike prices do I start to look at? And, obviously we have our guidelines that we follow here at TAC when we talk about covered calls. We always are aiming for that 40 delta if we can. So I'm looking at this and I'm going, all right, I've got a 260, I've got a 255, and that's kind of like the zone that I'm looking at here. But I'm also looking at the chart and going, all right, here we are. We're right back where we started, right? We had the breakout and all that mess happened. And we're right back to where this whole conversation started, about a month ago. So now what is my question for you? Now what?
Listen, I have gotten some version of this question hundreds of times over the years, right? So I have my little routine. My first question to you is: do you care if you lose the shares, or
Yes,
would
I
you?
do.
So you
I don't
care.
want to lose my shares. I care.
All right. So when you care about losing your shares, you have less flexibility than someone like me who just basically is constantly renting out shares. I don't care, right? No loyalty at all. I'll cheat on Microsoft and I'll go over to Google, right? Zero loyalty, right? So
Uh,
like I lose my shares, screw it. I'll figure out something else to do on. But
right.
a lot of people, whether through they don't want to take on tax burdens, right? Because a lot of these stocks when
Mhm.
they bought them were a lot cheaper, right? They don't
Yep.
want to lose the shares, right? They're using covered calls as a supplement rather than a primary source of portfolio expansion, like I do. I mean,
Hmm.
they're using covered calls as a supplement, right? They want to make a few bucks on things that they would own anyways, right? So you care,
You got it.
right? So I think in the particular spot, let's go back to the S&P, right? Let's go back to the S&P. Now, this might not apply to every company, right? It
Mhm.
certainly applies to Microsoft, right?
Mhm.
Microsoft, a huge uh, part, huge weight of so many,
Yeah.
ETFs and so forth, right? This, I'm not dealing with some, I'm not dealing with Chico. We're not dealing with Chico
Yeah.
Foss here, right? Chico Foss can do anything, right? Like market could go down, Chico Foss could go up. It's not as tied as much to top-down analysis.
Right.
We're in a little spot here on the S&P where you could legitimately go either way,
Hmm.
right? Like I actually, if my gut would say maybe up before down, but certainly down is a possibility. We got slapped down by the 5 EMA. We got slapped down by the 50 weekly EMA the last couple of days. Down is certainly a possibility. So let's say I don't, right? Let's say I don't. Let's
Hmm.
say it's 50-50, right? Which I don't think is like unreasonable. Like, do you break down? I would say it's 60-40 in favor of the Bulls, but that's just a guess, right? Probably closer to 50-50. All right, so we don't know what direction this is going to go, right? We're in a little tight consolidation. And let's go back to Microsoft. Microsoft is probably going to go in the direction of what the markets do here, right? A little
Yep.
bit more
Yep.
relative weakness, relative, right? But the general pattern on Microsoft has been general pattern on the markets pretty much for 6 months, right? Not a lot of deviation. Some more extremes to the low, some more extremes to the high, right? A little bit higher beta. They're probably going to go the general direction of the market, right?
Hmm.
What did you buy that original call for? It was, well, I mean, what did you sell?
Uh,
How
I
much
sold
credit?
it. I sold it for 23, I want to say. 23.65.
All right, so plenty profitable, right?
Yep.
I would, if I didn't want to lose shares, this is how I would handle this specific situation. I would give up some theta. You've made money on the call, right? Like that thing has done its job. I
Yep.
wouldn't be trying to squeeze out every penny here.
No, it would be silly of me to even try. I should
I
say
mean,
thank you.
now once again, if I didn't care, I might have a different answer. But where you
Right.
do, you're just trying on a 50-50 market coin flip, try to squeeze out what I would do. But you still want to get some theta, right? You still
Yeah.
want to get some theta. I would roll that up and out to about 275, which matches the old resistance level. I go out to that at on those March 31st, right? Because you want to get in that sweet spot.
Hmm.
Uh, I would roll that up and out to about 275 or something. Pick up some token credit. Not much,
Hmm.
right?
Hmm.
It's not much, but that gives me the flexibility, right? Now let's go back to the broad market chart because that doesn't mean it's the final thing I'm going to do here, right?
Right.
So let's say the market breaks to the upside. Well, Microsoft probably climbs, right? Probably
Mhm.
happy. I'm getting some delta appreciation over the theta,
Right.
right? Theta. I have that 275 market resistance. So I probably don't do anything until like right away. Let's see how this goes out. Let's see. Probably going to expire worthless. Let's see how it plays out. But if it breaks to the downside, I can roll that down again. I can roll that
Mhm.
275 down to 260. I can roll it. Let's say we get a big break. I can roll it down to 250 again, right?
Yeah.
And so, where you don't want to lose the shares, get some token credit, because I think it's smart to have token credit on everything these days, right? I just think that's smart, even if it's low delta up above, and that's a very low delta. It's 0.75, 0.13, right? And if you wanted to go the 270, same principle, right? Same
Yeah.
principle. So 275, 270, same principle, near resistance, gives you some delta. If the bulls win the broad market coin flip, right? Which they
Yep.
very well could, right? You got between now and March 31st, you're going to have a CPI report, you're going to have an unemployment report, you're going to have a PPI report, you're going to have who knows what comes out of frat boy Voldemort's mouth, who is also known as the Fed chairman. I refuse to ever mention his name again. Uh,
I didn't know
so
that that was a thing.
So you got a lot of things that could spark that. All right, whatever the bullish excuse is to go up that day.
Right.
But if it breaks down, you have flexibility to roll it down to a more aggressive strike and pick up extra credit that way. I think it for someone who travels, who has a life, who is in front of the computer, every nanosecond of the day, like myself, I think that's a sensible approach to pick up some credit. The 270 looks better than the 275 the more I look at. Want that
Yeah.
$70 so you can send me get those
Listen,
Uber Eats a
I
couple times.
I will have you on a weekly delivery for your latte on Uber Eats.
And so
It's
like
not going to cost
pick
me.
up that pick up that two bills on the 270. You can always roll it down if we break the support to the downside. You can always
Yeah.
roll it down. But if the Bulls win, when the Bulls win, it can be oftentimes fast, and that gives you plenty of room to work with.
Mhm.
Plenty of room to work with. So that's how I would handle that situation in your situation.
Well, thank you very, very, very much. I do appreciate that. And you do know me, you know the queen. I don't always, I'm not on the in front of the computer like you are. So you can make quick decisions on the fly as you go when you get your alerts. And I might even have an alert to let me know that something is happening and I miss it because I'm not in front of the computer. So for me to give myself that space between the 270 and 275 and then have the what if scenario, if this then that,
Yeah.
already planned out, that's perfect for me. It's exactly what the queen needed, so thank you
Yeah,
for that.
and just have the plan on what you're going to roll it down to and what the signal is that would cause the roll down, right? The broad market breaks the 200. The broad market breaks 39, 20, whatever it is, right? Just be like,
Right.
all right, because with Microsoft, and once again, I want to do this with every stock, but it's probably going to go the direction of the market. And so I would actually want to know if the market breaks. Maybe it's last week's lows, right? Maybe it's last
Mhm.
week's lows. And if that breaks, then I'll roll it down and out, roll it down and in, right? Or down and out, right? Either
Yep.
way, because it might not happen for 10 days, right? And we might be 3 weeks and you'd be like, I'm going to go out to April monthly. Well, but like just know what the signal is that triggers the roll. And then if it breaks to the upside, right? Well, then you probably have plenty of room to work with, pick up some delta, reevaluate it, depending on what the pattern looks like in the coming weeks.
Awesome, awesome. This has been a fun one with Microsoft. I've really enjoyed it because these are all the different phases, right? That one will go through when they are doing covered calls, in the long run and not giving up on them. Because I was very impatient with covered calls when I was a newer trader, right? I'd get it taken away from me and I'd get emotional and I go, this stuff it doesn't work. Or then it would roll, it would, go the other direction and I would get very impatient in managing the covered calls. So I stayed away from them. But the more I do this and the more I learn the different phases and the different ways that you manage these calls, it's been fun. It's been great. So thank you for that. I really appreciate that.
My pleasure. My pleasure.